vehicles, the ultimate hobby. This is the building of the Starship Enterprise. Its continuing mission to create a beautiful centerpiece, to seek out new builders and young model makers, to boldly go where no model has gone before. Welcome everyone to the Model Frontier. If you're new to the channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so that you don't miss a second of any of my great content. We're here back on the bridge of the Enterprise again. We're going to continue on our Enterprise D build. If you remember last time, we got another piece of framework in the saucer section, which we're working on, and the big part is we finally put a battery pack into our battle section, as well as putting on one giant piece of the bottom. So as I'm sure you've probably looked at your box already, and I'm sure you can imagine, today we're going to finish up with that section. So I'm excited. I'm sure you are too. Let's not waste any more time, and let's get right into it. Engage. So for the start of stage 103, we have another deck panel. And in this panel, we are going to put in our 7 lifeboats. And then we go over onto this side, where we're going to put our covering on. And that gets held into place with 2 AM screws. And this piece is going to go right onto our saucer section. So as you can tell by the mat, we're going to bring that over and get to work on it. So we're focusing in on this section right here. I'm going to take the tape off of this. This was just here to keep this in place so that we don't lose this piece. A little dusty because we haven't done anything in here. This is the simpler piece to put on. It's just going to slip right in here. Now it's going to get fixed in with one FM screw here, but DP screws into these 2 holes, and I would recommend we do the M screw first. There we are, just like that. And now, as you probably guessed, we are going to cover the screw here. So we're going to be covering the screw here, but we are not going to have anything covering these screws here. So like always, we're going to take our part and we're going to pop it into place here. Cover that screw hole, and I'm going to put the tape back onto this part because again, I do not want this this to come out until we seal that in. Now that we're done with that, we're going to put our saucer to the side, or if you're like me, you're going to continue working on your saucer till we're done with it. And then we're going to work on our lower section. So go grab whatever you want to do. Go to the right section for the next part, and we'll get to work. So for this part of stage 103, we are going to add some details to our base here, and they're basically going to cover up the screw holes. So the first part we're going to put on is this piece here. Obviously pretty well shaped. You can see right where it goes. Let's do a test fit. Yeah, that goes in there pretty good. So you're not going to need glue for this. I'm just going to fit that in there. Just like that. Now next we're going to be focusing in on these areas. We've got two of these sections. They are shaped, so just kind of follow the curve on here to match that curve there. And it's going to go in. Again, no glue needed. We're just going to pop that in place on each side there. Just like that. Now we've got these transporter pads. We've got a pair of them. And unlike the previous ones, they don't give you the... They don't come pre-stuck. So they do give us the sticky tape though. They do give us the double-sided stuff for it. So we're going to take one off. Put it as close to the middle as you can get it. So it kind of goes on just like that. And then we're going to take the backing off. And you're going to stick the emitter into its space. It can only go into one slot. They are shaped. Just like that. To cover that screw hole. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other emitter. Push those down nice and flat in there. And now we're going to cover all these escape pod covers, but they don't use regular escape pod hatches. Instead, we use these. They're on a curved sprue. So I'm thinking these are shaped slightly differently, slightly curved, because this part is curved. There's 12 of them. There's 12 holes to fill. So let's go ahead and do that. As always, with these parts, the red line on the escape pod faces out from the center. Like that. And with those done, we got a couple more little details to put in. We're going to cover the screw holes here. We've got a couple of these round parts, these round things here, which we've done before, and we're just gonna push to fit. I went in a little too loose. That might need some glue. Nope, they'll push in more. Push those into place. And those are in place. And the last things we're going to do is we got these two spots here, which have these here. And of course they are shaped, so they'll only fit one way. And there we go. So with all that work done, that is it for this stage. So stage 104, this is a great stage because we are going to focus in on this section of our battle bridge. And we're starting off down here with these lights, which again, if we turn them on, you can see these are the blinking lights. Now, I already did this part, but the way they have you having these, they want you to undo them and cross them over, but I've already taken the liberty of doing that. Now we've got the two formation lights to put on, and we gotta make sure we get these right because we're not going to be able to do it later. Green always goes on the same side, and red always goes on the same side. So the green's going to go on this side. They do just kind of slip right in there. And we're going to put that in the hole here. And then we're going to do the same thing with the red light. place. Get it into position. Just gonna do a quick test. I think that's about as good as I'm going to get those in there. Now we're going to bring over this big piece here. Oop, let me get those screws off of the magnet. Magnet there. We'll be dealing with that in a bit. But the first thing we're going to do is we are going to have, like this, we are going to feed through. We're going to put our switch in. So our switch is going to go. First of all, we got a switch to put in. I'm just trying to figure out how they want it to go. I guess it doesn't really matter how it goes in, just as long as it fits. Or does it matter? Hang on. You don't want to have yourself something to push this in with. It's a very tight fit, but as long as you can still, flick your switch, turn on your lights, you're good. And then, of course, we got the battery box, which is going to, and then, well, first of all, before we do the battery box, we've got a bracket here. It's going to go on like this. Like that. Don't know if you'll see that. And it's going to be held in place with a pair of the BP screws. Just like that. Next, we're going to take our battery box, and you can see the shape it makes. It's going to go in here and be held at the 2 points with, you guessed it, BP screws. Just like that, and if we take a look, battery compartment, everything is lighting up, so we're good there. So that's all good. We're going to put this to one side for just a minute. because we've got strips. We got these for phaser arrays. Let me bring that in a little bit. So now we gotta make a couple of these. Now, you get two in the two sets. Obviously, we know where these are gonna go. You've got a textured one and a smooth one. Now, this part is going to be extremely tricksy. Because we've got springs that we got to work with. So we're going to do these gently here. Put the spring in. And then you're going to put... So you're going to have one end, one textured and one non-textured side. And getting these in these pegs is going to be a pain. Just like that, and then you're going to put just gently, so that they don't come off, we're going to set this in here. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Find it's a little easier if you put one spring in, and then while you're holding it kind of like this, you try to get the other one in. Just like that. Gently going to set that into the other side here. So they will look like that. Now comes the fun part. We are going to put this together. So we gotta make a space here. Make sure all our wires are pushed down. Make sure we have a space for the battery box. I don't think I have a space for that. Stand by. Gotta do some wire arranging. And stand by. So sorry for the jump cut, guys, but this is one of those stages that I call the Murphy's Law stage, where if anything can go wrong, it does go wrong, and a lot went wrong on this stage. But I make the mistakes so you don't have to, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I screwed up and how to fit and how I had to fix it so you can avoid it. And it all starts with this section here. Now, before you seal this up and screw it into place, it's important to make sure that you put in, that you get all the wiring that's in here where it's got to go. And where it should go, not one wire should be above the framework. Because if you do, you're going to run into problems putting this piece on. Now, discussing this bottom piece, it was a pain to get in. First of all, because of the cheap solder they use on both of these, it's very easy to disconnect your wires. But if you do that and you don't want to order the part from FanHome, you just make sure to resolder it nicely and you can get that to work. Just make sure you match up wires, test them, you know, stuff like that. But here's the thing. The power switch wire, the power switch box, has 2 red wires coming out of it. If they touch at all, they're going to create some kind of a shock where no matter what direction the switch is, whether it's in the off or on position, your lights are going to be 100% on at all times. So if your lights go on and they shouldn't be, check this box right here because that could be your problem. Finally, you got to make sure that no wires are in this area because this has to get flattened down. Also, you want to make sure that you get these parts lined up right. What I found to be easier than what they show in the instructions is to put these ones, so to put the top ones in first. To put the top ones in, so you're going to have this upside down. You put these ones in there first. Then you put the springs in, and then you put these parts in right before you flip this back onto here. When you do that, you're going to secure this down with BP screws all the way around this outer part. These are BM screws in these 2 holes, and then these 2 are AM screws. And again, you want to get them as tight as you can because that's going to bring everything together. And once you do that, that is it for stage 104. Okay, so we're starting stage 105, and the first thing they want us to do is we got 3 sets of these panel lights, and of course we're going to bend these outwards on all 3 of them because, as you can see, we're going to be putting our lights into our metal section here. So the first one we're going to put in is going to be the one that goes in right here. They want us to use the green and the yellow one for this. This is just going to be a matter of feeding things through. Pull this apart some. They actually want us to get this wire down in here. So I want us to get it out of the way there. Put this down in here. And it's going to get held in with a bracket and an AM screw. This is the part I hate because you need like 4 hands to do this. Just like that. Now we got to put our other ones in. So the first one we're going to put in is this one, which is going to kind of come up into this section here. Just like that. Then we got 3 more lights to put in. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera. I'll come back and show you what that looks like. And it'll look something like this, with all the connection points going towards this section, going out towards the middle, and all the lights in place with a bracket. If you have to, like this one has given me trouble, like it did on the last time we did this, so a little bit of glue, you can use that to hold it down, and then that's not going anywhere. Now obviously, we still have this light, which has not been connected to anything. We're not connecting it now. We gotta go grab our saucer section, because obviously we gotta put this piece in. So go grab your saucer and I'll meet you back here. So now we're gonna be focusing in on this section here of the saucer. And just like we did on the other side, we're gonna start off by getting our cables all gathered up, and we're gonna put our piece into position where it's gonna go. Just make sure you don't pinch any of your wires. Just like that. Now it says to plug these things in first, but we're gonna bypass that and actually secure this piece down, then we'll plug these in. Because there's really no benefit to not doing it that way. So to do this, we need the single JM screw in this section, 2 FM screws for these two, and then all the rest get BM screws. So I'm going to put those in right now, come back, and you can see what it looks like. And there we go, just like that. And then we plugged in, and then I plugged in the 3 cords in 3 spots in here. So now you can see all of these lights are lit. We do have the one light. I just kind of shoved it into here. That's kind of loose right now. And that's it for... And that is actually it for the saucer section of this stage. And auspiciously, that's the last bit of the frame for the saucer. So now we've got all the framework on our saucer section completely done. So this is kind of a monumental stage here. But now we gotta go do some work on our battle section, so go grab that and I'll meet you back here. Now, as I'm sure you can imagine, for this part of stage 105, we are going to be sealing up some of these screw holes. So it's really just a matter of you take your parts and you match them up to the holes, to the spots they fill. And once you get them pushed in, they're going to hide those screws. So you got these 2 L-shaped pieces that obviously are going to go down here. And you got these 2 curvy pieces that are going to cover up this section. So you're going to follow the curves here. Just like that. And then of course we got 2 more of these transporter pads, which we got to put onto these sections. Again, we're going to start off by putting our tape on them. Our double-sided sticky tape. Once we get that on that side, we're going to take the sticky part off here. If you're like me and you don't have nails, a pair of tweezers might be your friend. And then we're just going to slip this into the groove here. And then we're going to repeat on this side. Just like that. Now, the instructions do show you to do something I know you've probably already been doing if you're anything like me, but now they make it official to do it. But we are going to hold off on that part because obviously we've got a few more screw holes to cover, which I think you know when we're going to do that. But for right now, this is how we're going to leave stage 105. Okay, so here we are at the beginning of stage 106. This is the final stage of this issue. We're going to start off by putting in our 5 escape pod covers. And then we put in our brackets with AM screws. And then we go ahead and put in our windows. We've got 4 clear windows, 9 dark windows, and we've got another one of these extra wide ones right there, that middle one. And then we put on our reflectors with, you guessed it, AM screws. And then we put on our phaser array here with a pair of DP screws to secure it down. And then once that's all in there, we're not securing this to the saucer yet. So we're going to leave that alone. We're going to put that to the side. And then we're going to go grab our battle section. And we're actually going to finish with that right now. So go grab your battle section and let's get it done. So here we are with the final stage of this section of the build. And of course, as I hinted before, we're going to be finishing putting in the screw covering. So once again, you just take the panels, match the shapes, and it should push right into place. Snap, don't be afraid to push them down a little bit, snap them in. And again, it's just a matter of following the shapes. I mean, they do label these, like this has an L in there for left side, but if you can't tell what shape it is, I question whether you should be building models in the first place. Just kidding, guys, just kidding. Alright, now we've got one more thing to do here, guys, and that's going to involve this battery cover and some magnets. So you first want to check the polarity of the magnets because one of these did come out. So if you do lose your magnet, you're going to need a little bit of glue to glue it back into place. Alright, so now our magnets are good on that. Now we have 2 small magnets, which are going to go into these 2 crevices. But again, you do want to make sure you match them up. What I'm going to suggest the easiest way to do this, and this is a trick I've seen from World of Wayne, is you take your magnet that you're trying to figure out what the polarity is, hold it just a little bit above where you want it, and drop it into place. And that didn't work. Okay, so obviously that's the right polarity for that one. And that's the right polarity for that one. Now that we got the polarities on those, what I would recommend is just put a little bit of glue in so that these stick just on the magnet side that we're sticking down. You don't want to put too much on. And I would advise against sliding the whole piece in, because the last thing you want to have happen is your super glue gluing this piece down. Because again, this is your battery cover. This is what's going to help you to get at your batteries if you need it. And then once that's in place, we should be able to just slap this piece right on here. Hang on, stand by. I think I got that one in wrong, so I'm gonna have to get this one out to reverse it. Let's just see, because it doesn't seem like it's hurt anything. Alright. Well, with that piece in there, you can now see we have finished. If I zoom out here a little bit, you can see now that we have finished this entire bottom part. Which means there's only one thing left for us to do. And like I said, you've probably been doing this already, but if you haven't been, now is the time. We're going to flip this baby over. And it's the official time. We're going to bring over this thing that we haven't seen for ages. And all you're going to do is slide this in. So you see you've got these tabs on the bottom and the holes here. So if you haven't been doing this already, now's the time to officially do it. You're going to slide this into the front here. And then you should just be pushing it back. And there you go. You're all set. Your Enterprise is now, the battle section is now done. That is it for stage 106, and that is it for this pack. So that's it for the Model Frontier today, and I told you this was going to be a great issue, that we're going to get a lot done, and gosh, it's so funny looking back on this, how far we've come and how much we have left to do. But the fact that we're getting to this point, when a year ago I never thought we would get here, I'm so happy we're actually doing this. Now again, as I said last video, you guys are going to pick the next model that I do, so go to my community tab, go down to the community tab, and vote for the next model. You know, we only got a couple issues left. I've only got a couple issues left on this Enterprise build. So I want to let you know what wins. So make sure you vote. If you like the video, make sure to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. And I will catch you next time on the Model Frontier.